The Harvard Crimson, like the last 3 seasons running, remain perched atop the Ivy League standings after a win today against the Princeton Tigers. But only just. Quarterback Joe Viviano with a 1-yard touchdown run in overtime as the Crimson defeated the Princeton Tigers by a score of 23-20 here at Powers Field in Princeton, New Jersey in our Ivy League and college football game of the week this week. It was a cold, wet, rainy afternoon here in central New Jersey, and in a matchup between the two remaining unbeatens in Ivy League play, the Harvard Crimson did not trail at any point in regulation, but were forced to play that extra session after the Tigers completed a second-half comeback in the fourth quarter, capped off by a 4-yard touchdown run by backup quarterback and Wildcat quarterback John Lovett from 4 yards out with 49 seconds to go to tie the game at 17. Now, the Harvard Crimson got off to a pretty good start in this ball game, took a 14-0 lead into halftime. 2 touchdown passes by Joe Viviano in the first half, one in the first quarter to tight end Anthony Ferkser, one in the second quarter to Adam Scott. Now, despite those 2 touchdowns Viviano threw, he also threw 3 interceptions in the ball game. Harvard turned over the ball 4 times in the contest. Those turnovers keeping the Tigers in the game long enough for their offense to turn around and turn it around in the second half. That the offense did in the second half to tie the game. The Tigers took the lead for the first time in overtime on a 25-yard field goal by Tavish Rice, but 5 plays after that, on Harvard's first possession of overtime, Viviano took it in from 1 yard out to give the Crimson the victory. Harvard now 5-1 in the season, 3-0 in the Ivy League. And after the game, I got a chance to speak with Viviano, who scored that game-winning touchdown, and I asked him to begin our conversation. What were his feelings right after he broke the plane and gave Harvard the victory in overtime?
Yeah, it was awesome. Honestly, just pure bliss. It was a really, really tough game, hard-fought game by both sides. Princeton was an awesome team, so just to finally come out on top meant everything right there.
And on that shotgun snap, on that run, it was low. I believe it hit the turf. What's going through your mind as the ball hits the turf and you know that the team has turned over the ball, and knowing that if you turn it over here, the game's over?
Yeah. Honestly, I just got the ball and I figured I got to get in the end zone any way I possibly can. So I knew I was kind of running that one.
In the first half, your offense was running smooth, almost 200 yards of a total offense, a 14-point lead going into halftime. In the second half, was it more of what your offense wasn't doing or more of what Princeton's defense was doing in terms of them getting back into the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a little bit of both. Princeton's defense, unbelievable unit. They're a real good team. They do what they do very well. I thought first half we did a very good job in kind of countering that, but second half, a good team's going to get you a few times. Obviously, all the turnovers don't help.
Didn't mean to interrupt, but you mentioned the turnovers, and there were 3 interceptions that you had. A couple of really good plays by the Princeton defenders to make those interceptions. Was there any words that you and Coach Murphy shared, or the offensive coordinator and yourself shared, in terms of keeping your head in the game?
Yeah, I mean, most of those throws were just forces, just me trying to be a little bit too aggressive. So Coach kind of told me just, take what they give you, and I knew that. Those were my mistakes, and they just told me to keep playing. My head was still in the game.
Being the starting quarterback at Harvard, 3-time defending Ivy League champions, do you feel any pressure playing quarterback for Harvard, knowing the standard that they have set historically and in the past 3 years?
Yeah, there's always a little bit of pressure taking on that role, but honestly, it's a pressure that I embrace and a pressure that I want. You don't want to be on a team that has no pressure to win, so you got to embrace it and just do the best you can to continue that tradition.
Also, with the injury setbacks that you have had the past few years and getting your chance to start this year, is that part of embracing being the quarterback at Harvard?
Exactly. There's you're going to get dealt a lot of bad hands in your life. You just got to keep working, keep your eye on the prize, and one day when it is your chance, you got to make the most of it.
So I guess this hand here today was like a full house of 4 aces, right?
Yeah, they gave us everything they got. Like I said, it was a battle to the end. You just got to stay focused, try to win that last second.
As for the Princeton Tigers, they're not able to seize the opportunity to take over first place all alone in the Ivy League standings, and it happened in the most excruciating fashion, losing in overtime after coming back from a 14-point second half deficit. Harvard winning the game by 3. So stay tuned to A Lot of Sports Talk and ALOTOFSportsTalk.com. Our latest edition of the A Lot of Sports Talk podcast will be released early next week. We'll be talking MLS, and we also hope to have one of the members of the new WNBA champions, the Los Angeles Sparks, with us on our podcast. Elena Beard, guard for the LA Sparks, agreeing to join us for a conversation. We hope to have that conversation to you by early next week. So next week, our college football game of the week goes to the Keystone State for a big matchup in the ACC, Virginia Tech against Pittsburgh. That is on a Thursday night. So our college football game of the week next week will be next Thursday, Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh from Heinz Field in the Steel City. So hopefully you will join us for that. Once again, our final score here, the Harvard-Crimson 23, the Princeton Tigers 20 in overtime. From Powers Field in Princeton, New Jersey, my name is Adeshina Koike for ALOTOFSportsTalk.com.